Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Ticket Podcast. My name is Ruth O'Brien, Senior Director of AI Support here at Intercom, and I'm joined today by Fred Walton, AI Conversation Designer from our organisation of customer support here at Intercom. Hi, Fred, how's it going? Can you tell our audience a bit about who you are and what you do here at Intercom?
Hi, Ruth. Yeah, certainly. So an AI conversation designer at Intercom is essentially owning the end-to-end automation experience that's both customer-facing and in the background to aid our teammates who then respond to any customer conversations which are escalated beyond Fin. Speaking of Fin, I also own and control the profile that we have there. So anything to do with guidance, anything to how we want Fin to respond, that's in the remit as well. So generally, it's the end-to-end experience that both customers experience, but also how our teammates respond to any escalated conversations as well.
Nice. So for the past couple of years, we've been partnering together on all things Fin Service Agent. So the application of Fin for our own customer support team here at Intercom, where we need to show it off to the best of its ability so our own customers who interact with it want to buy it for their own businesses. But most recently, you've started to support Fin Sales Agent as well, which we're here to talk about today. Can you tell our audience a bit about what Fin Sales Agent actually is?
Yeah, certainly. So as a general overview for Sales Agent, it's live on our Intercom and Fin.ai webpage at the moment. It's designed to essentially be a consultant as part of the sales team. So we have full control over how we want the sales agent to respond to our customer or prospect questions. There's different criteria and different buckets that we have created to then profile those prospects based on how they respond to different questions asked by Fin. So, for example, if they're enterprise sales, there'll be different criteria to hit. And if they meet those criteria, we then escalate and route to the appropriate team. Whereas there's potential where a prospect may not be enterprise sales, but they still qualify for different offerings that we have available. We still provide intel and information on how they can apply to different programs or generally link out to different websites so they can read more in a self-serve fashion, and making sure that they're not inappropriately routed to the team, causing friction for the SDRs who would ordinarily respond to prospects. So it's essentially allowing the SDRs and the sales team to focus on more valued work and really help them nurture those legitimate enterprise sales prospects through end to end as part of the sales journey.
So essentially, we're building on the fantastic reputation that we have with Fin as a service agent, doing amazing things for customer support teams all around the world. And even for our own application of Fin for our own customer support org, we've had amazing success over the past couple of years. So we're after reaching 81% automation rate, which means that out of everything that comes into our customer support organization from our customers, 81% of it, and we have a pretty complex product, is being resolved by Fin Service Agent at the moment. But Fin Sales Agent does a different job actually to Service Agent. So Service Agent is designed to either resolve a customer's query as quickly as possible or route it to the right team member if it can't actually resolve an issue. Whereas the sales agent is about opening up the conversation and getting more information out of the customer and then trying to move it down through the sales journey, right? So Fred, I think it would be great to tell our audience a little bit about why you have been pulled into this process. So as we roll out Fin Sales Agent, why is it you that have been pulled into this rather than the sales team or the go-to-market team hiring a new conversation designer, over there with them?
Absolutely. So I actually joined Intercom when we were initially rolling out Fin Service Agent. So I've been part of that journey, which was quite complex. We were sort of ripping out old automation setups and going all in on Fin. So I've been part of the process of honing and developing our offering with Service Agent and really understanding the best practices of what to do, what not to do, how we can phase out different releases. So it made sense for me to then join the team who are rolling out Sales Agent so I can use everything I've learned having been here since we initially rolled out Service Agent to then bring those to Sales Agent to make it a smooth and successful release. Intercom is a power user of Intercom. So we've always used and beta tested new capabilities and functionalities that the team have been working on. So having that knowledge and the context of how things work, it also made sense with everything going on with automation. There's no overlap between an existing setup versus something that we want to ship, which is shiny and new, making sure they translate between each other really well as well. While customers or prospects can start off by having a sales question, they could be translated into a support question. So we wanted both of the automation setups to work seamlessly together. So it made sense for the person who initially was part of the team with Fin and has the knowledge of all of our workflows and customer facing and background automations in play to be the person who owned the automation for sales agent.
This really feeds into the vision that our CEO Owen spoke about at our customer conference, Pioneer, late last year. This concept of a customer agent that does many different jobs, but isn't many different agents that are fragmented across different teams. So you interact with one and then it's a really messy kind of handover to another one. And the reason that you're involved here is to kind of oversee the customer agent and the different jobs that it does across the board to maintain a holistic customer journey and ensure that customers actually don't feel like they're interacting with the front door of a business through Fin rather than many different teams. You know, that kind of idea of not exposing your silos in your company to your customers. So can you tell us a little bit about what it's like working with different go-to-market leaders? You know, you've been partnering with me and the other service leaders for the past couple of years. So we have a specific set of needs and metrics that we care about. What's different working with go-to-market leaders? And then if you could tell us as well, like what's actually the same?
Yeah, sure. So the sales leaders as part of the GTM team are really interested in MQLs, so our marketing qualified leads. And this is essentially how we've defined, based on the different criteria asked by sales agent, if all the defined criteria are met to be a sales prospect, that's then rolled up into an MQL, and that's tracked top of funnel and everything in Salesforce. So that's generally what the sales leaders are, well, what they care about is how many MQLs are we getting, how do they transition into different Salesforce metrics such as S1 and S2 and so on. And are they becoming closed won or closed lost? So that's generally what they care about. They're also really interested in creating a frictionless experience for the sales team. So making sure that they are only interacting with genuine sales prospects, someone who's really interested in the product, who can be nurtured through a teammate. We also want to provide the necessary information to any prospect who may not be qualified sales lead, but may qualify for other offerings that we have available. So let's say our early stage program, or if they're, maybe just interested in generally what's the pricing of Intercom, we are still providing that information to them, and not just disregarding them because they're not, a high value prospect. With the service team and primarily within CS, we care about the resolution rate, the automation rate, and also how frequently is Fin getting involved in the conversations. We also care about, if we're looking at reporting, what's the first response time? How quickly are humans responding to our customers and their questions? I think together, though, what we care about is just providing the best customer experience. I think that works quite well, though, because as a team, we believe that Fin sales agent, isn't necessarily a completely different product. It's and part of a completely different team. We're all customer-facing teams at the end of the day. So the customer experience and the holistic journey is our vision, and it's something that really matters to us.
You've hit the nail on the head there. We are all customer facing teams and there's some core things that we all care about. Like you said, customer experience, the speed of response to customers, no matter whether it's sales or customer support, speed is of the essence, right? And also that end results matter. So the metrics, like the actual metrics and what we call them, are different, but being results-based teams, that's another piece that's actually the same. So bringing it all back to that like holistic customer experience, and then also that the teammates that Fin passes to in the right moments are spending the time on the things that they should be spending time on. And then Fin is taking care of a lot of the stuff that was like, not the highest value work previously. So just love to see it. Okay, so we've spoken about some of the concepts and features, but can you actually tell us, like, what have you been doing on the ground, sitting down with some of the go-to-market leaders, in this case, like the sales leaders? Like, what are the projects that you've been working on, or like, what are the outcomes that you're trying to get to? Like, what have you actually been doing?
So it all started with trust. Sales agent is a completely new concept for the sales leaders and the sales team, allowing AI to do the prospecting, the data gathering, and everything else to then, uh, bucket and profile the prospect before assigning them to a dedicated SDR teammate. So we had to start off with an A/B test to really show how invaluable the results could be. And actually what happened was, they were great results. And we saw an increase in a lot of our metrics that we really care about. So it started off with, rolling out an A/B test and then slowly iterating that experience into an experience that all of our prospects would now see on our intercom.com or fin.ai web pages. We've been exploring how we can change the experience depending on which website they start the conversation from, and also which specific data points we want to gather first because they matter the most to us, and also how we can then follow up with any disengaged customers if they accidentally dropped off or they abandoned the conversation. If we've collected their contact information, it allows the marketing team to then reach back out to them, or a sales team can reach back out to that contact, given that, we've got the information for them to always just keep a finger on the pulse. We're also now looking at integrating our own booking system to allow prospects to essentially have control of booking in when's convenient for them to have a demo or just to speak to a human in more detail about different offerings as part of our Fin for Platforms or our Intercom suite. Now, this is all done still with sales agent. We still have to qualify to make sure that they are genuine and they are interested and they meet the criteria to be a sales MQL prospect. And if they do match all the criteria, they can then, with this integration, we will check what the calendar availability is, depending on their time zone, but or also when works best for them. And they can actually book in a call with a human. And that's how I think we can improve the experience greatly. They started off with a great experience with sales agent, and they're ending with a great experience from a visual call with a real human. But also it allows that sales team, again, to focus on the most valuable, genuine prospects who could be high value future customers.
Nice. And it can actually complete the end-to-end sales journey for those ones that maybe the sales humans don't necessarily need to get involved with, which is super cool. So what else? Like, there's lots happening in this space at the moment. What's next?
We're also looking at improving our integration directly with Salesforce. Salesforce is the main tool that our sales team use, but currently there's no direct integration between Sales Agent and Salesforce. They go through Intercom, which then goes through, after MQLing, goes into Salesforce. But having the direct integration and the data available and passed seamlessly, I think will greatly improve the experience for our teammates who, look at the different leads in Salesforce, and it allows us to track in more detail how many go from an initial MQL to then S1 and S2, generally if they're closed won or closed lost, and that will actually roll up to better reporting for all of us and everyone involved. So that's, something we really want to focus on moving forward to greatly improve the experience for us internally using the product. On top of that, we're also looking at exploring the ability to have Sales Agent live on different channels. At the moment, we only have Sales Agent on web, but we're exploring email and other future channels further down the line too.
Nice. Lots of exciting stuff happening in the customer agent space. So we've been stretching into sales agent, having had an amazing time with service agent and having delivered amazing results there. And there are many other types of jobs that we would want the customer agent to do over time. Even a couple of weeks ago, we sat down with our success team to see what we could have Fin stretch into in the success space. There's actually a lot of functionality available to us today in service agent that we can use to do some success type work. And we have an article about that we can share afterwards as part of the follow up on the podcast. So it's an exciting time to be part of a customer facing facing team with all things AI and customer agent. But today, if you, a listener, are interested in getting involved in Sales Agent or having a look at it and seeing how it works for you before we go to general release later this year, get in touch with us and we'll see if we can add you to the closed beta that we have going at the moment. So that's it from us today. Thanks so much for listening, and we'll be back speaking more about Sales Agent and Customer Agent in general over the course of the next few months.